I didn't know what to expect before I came to Athens. After listing down all the historical sites, I left the rest to be discovered. Then now it became one of the best destinations where I can get lost and wander around. I realized this is the ideal place to practice mindful travel. It opens up my sensories and it opens up my heart. In these cities, other than all these famous historical sites, I get to appreciate so much details that is hidden outside of the crowded place. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can maximize your experience while you're in Athens, without having to follow my path or anyone else. It will be your own unique discovery. You can even repeat this process when you return to this city. Just remember the acronyms of Athens. The first letter here for Athens, A, stands for alley and art. You can look into these two as separated things, but in Athens, I would say they are pretty much merged together. Other than sculpture and heritage, where you can see them at the main street. And I also realized each street feels different, whether it's different district or different time of the day you visit. These are the art of alley. Every street or alley holds a different vibe. Like in this street, it warms my heart. Although this is winter when I visited, but all the warm lights, music, and the crowds, the colors and ambience just light up everyone's mood. That's why I spotted a lot of warm smile on the face. And there's also something we never seen it in Asia, but only here in the neighborhood. You can always get surprised by the art that you see in the alley that is so well done. Not only the countless graffiti, but even performance art. These are the things I didn't plan to catch, but I don't think I would notice all these details if I were in a rush chasing the destination. Guess this is where the graffiti on the streets come from. Is the underground shop. The other parts where the art lies on, not just the art supply store, but also the artist's own retail store. This would be a great idea if you are thinking of getting some souvenir that is from local production. Immerse myself in the art of alley, seeing all these human-made beautiful things, or just wander around it under the sun. It's definitely lifted my mood. For that reason, I strongly recommend you to take some walk. If it's too cold or too tired, then you can consider the next acronym, T, stands for Transport Transit with Less Technology. In this trip, we start off the journey by using the local taxi. It's a flat rate taking from the airport to the city center where we lived. The whole journey takes about 45 minutes. Usually, I would take the chance to chat with the taxi driver. But this round, we didn't get a chance because we don't know the Greek language. And this language barrier continued even when we decided to take other public transport. I think the only language that we can seem to understand is the sculpture here. To make our life easy, we decided to take a 3-day transport pass. It can be used in the train, tram, and all the buses. With the Greek names written on each station signboard, even with the announcement, we still find it quite hard to recognize the station because the pronunciation is very different from what we could imagine. So on that part, we rely on the technology, which is the Google Map and the internet. But we also check with the locals at the same stations. Having the name of our destination shown on the phone, it makes the communication easier because using English to pronounce Greek names, no one would understand you. We have unlimited rides using this transport pass. We didn't really need any transport to explore the city in the first few days of our stay. All the attractions within the cities are walkable, but with this pass, it takes us further. From the city train, we then change to this tram where it can take us further down, bringing us to a total different view. Here we don't see tourists, but the lifestyles of the people here. Oftentimes, through the transportation, I get to feel the rhythm of the city. If you can notice from the beginning, the crowd is lesser here. And the tram also brings us to the coastline, while at the same time you can observe the people. This is something good about the transport pass. After a few days of walking, now you come to the resting and you still get to see the views. And since we talk about the view, I want to remind you here, let your camera do the recording and have your eyes on the reality. This is the awareness that I always bring into my vlogging. The reason to record my journey is to have the access later when I need to recall my experience. But if I give all my attention to record my journey, ended up what kind of travel experience I would have? Why don't just find a spot and let the camera roll and let your heart and mind be in the present. Engage each moment with your feeling, your emotion, and your memory. How do you feel sitting in the local bus like this in a cold night? This is something our camera couldn't do for us. All the footage would be meaningless if I never experienced the reality. Especially the experience within an ambience. Here we engage the next acronym, H for hearing. Have you noticed how sound can contribute to the ambient, whether it's instrument performance on the streets, or even the collective sound that contributes from the crowds?
Nice photos, eh? This is the reality, how we make them.
Actually, none of the sound here is important, but it's the sound that collectively contributed from the people in this place that made up this ambient that we all enjoy. If you cannot imagine how the feeling of this place could change, you can rewind and mute this past minute. The next acronyms for Athens, E, engagement. If you're introvert like me, we can still engage in a very subtle way, just by living with the neighborhood. I'm always excited when talk about the first smallest elevator in my life that I encounter in the Airbnb apartment in Athens. With the language barrier, although we don't have much chance to spark a conversation with a local, it didn't stop us from interacting with other livings in the city. And that is enough to give us a clue of how the people in this city are kind and friendly. We meet stray cats everywhere. Obviously, they are fed well, healthy physically, and I guess also psychologically. They are comfortable roaming around the city, interacting with the people, including the tourists like us. If you're not afraid of cats, when you come to Athens the next time, don't forget to give them some love. They are one of the beautiful things in the city, which are the result from the beautiful people in this place. The next beautiful things that we can increase the engagement is to pay a visit to the local art and craft markets. Many of them are their individual invention, including those silver and gold jewelry, natural stones necklace, or having the stone in raw. Second-hand vinyl records in different genres. There's this particular material that I'm drawn to. They use this softwood cork and turn them into beautiful bags. For me, this is one of the best ways to engage economically. Another way to deepen the engagement, of course, is to participate in the activities that is related to history or culturally. If you want to know more about this guard exchange ceremony and the informations, there's a link on the right top corner for you to find out more. Now let me introduce you this hidden gem. It reminded me not to judge a book by its cover. Let me know in the comments if you have been to Athens but missed this out. I'm a Buddhist, and I know how religion can shape our beliefs, and how many generations of beliefs that this religion holds the people here. It all returns and reflected in the details of this church. I remember when I did my study in architectural history, I learned that the philosophy of one religion passed down to the people, and that beliefs continue to influence many other aspects in their life, which it reflected on the architectural design, the art, the food, and even the costume. Therefore, without religion nurturing our mind, we will lose a lot of beautiful culture, including this church. For this reason, I engage myself in other religions' activities. This Turkish traditional desserts here is the evidence of the beauty in cultural exchange. Food known to have the power to bring people together. I think that's because food itself can spark a lot of conversations. From the resources, the land, the people, the sea. They have the great Greek yogurt and the best seafood and the fresh vegetables. Of course, there's so much more. You can click the link on the top right corner where I gather all these good quality food I found in Athens. Besides the good quality ingredients that they're using, the portions are generous, the taste is great, and most importantly, they are all so affordable. To deepen the engagement, other than dining in the local restaurant, I personally like to check out the food resources. From here, we can tell cheese is one of the common ingredients. These common things often answer the norms. Which brings us to the next acronym, N, New Norm. These are the most subtle details that most of the people missed. From the building structure, bricks, to the trees on the walkway, I wonder how many travelers will pay attention to this. And that is how I found this strange tree. The tree that has two different colors of fruit in each side. I hope my experience gives you a reason to check on these new norms when you're traveling overseas. The next thing is the ground, the patterns of different stones. And it gives us the different sound when you step on it. Are they different from other countries? At this point, I don't know. But I'm sure I won't have the same back at home in Asia. I wonder, isn't it they are part of the heritage too? The next thing that worth our attention is the plants. The good news is, in Athens, they are everywhere. They worth my attention because we don't have the same weather and same land to have the same trees and leaves. Here in the nature, you can even activate your sensory. We get to touch and feel the texture. They even reminding us that the season is changing. Back in Asia, growing up in tropical, the greens are available all year round. I never learned that the plant can act like a calendar. This is something I could never experience if I didn't put myself in somewhere like in Athens. It is great to experience the different environment. And to acknowledge that differences, it requires some awareness. And once you have that awareness, it opens up your eyes and your mind. You became more sensitive to receive all the different experiences. That's how I observed there's something different about the sky, which is also the last acronym for Athens, sky. You may be asking, what is so special about the blue sky? But from where I'm coming from, we have a very different blue, and it's not in every city you get to see a clear blue sky. And the blue seems complementing this heritage building perfectly. And lastly is this stunning sunset. This is the longest sunset that I have ever waited in my life. In the tropical, sunset usually happen within 30 minutes. But the one that I'm sharing right now, it took me about 1.5 hours to get to this stage, and the sky is still not yet fully darkened. With all these experiences I had, now I have a reason to list Athens as one of the best cities to practice mindful travel. Especially with this geographic location, it's the ideal place to stop by if you're flying from Asia to Europe. Let me know in the comments if you consider to take these methods to explore Athens on your next visit. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.